Pause for a second and ask yourself how many times in your life you have unconsciously repeated phrases like, I am not good enough. I am not ready. I cannot change. You repeat it so much that it becomes a personal truth, and then you live exactly that way. You will never rise above the commands you whisper in your mind every day. This is the essence of the law of autosuggestion. It is a double-edged sword. It can be the prison that drowns you in limits or the key that opens the door to infinite potential. The scary thing is not that the world is too harsh, but that you do not control the story you are telling yourself. Every thought you hold long enough, often enough, becomes a command for your subconscious. The subconscious does not distinguish right from wrong, good from bad. It only obeys. And your life reflects exactly the commands you plant there. People blame circumstances, other people luck. But few dare to face the truth that the silent dialogues in your head, repeated endlessly, are what set every limit. If you do not consciously program your subconscious, the world will do it for you. And then you are no longer the master. You are just a passive reactor to countless negative suggestions society throws into your mind every day. Look straight at the root. Every desire you have: wealth, health, freedom, peace. All start with what seeds you plant in your mind and how you nurture them. Autosuggestion is not magic. It is a tool. It is a map. It is how you turn powerful thoughts into vivid reality by repeating them long enough to make your subconscious an ally instead of a traitor. Napoleon Hill made it clear anything you impress deeply on the subconscious with intense emotion and repetition will find a way to express itself outwardly. The scary and beautiful thing is this law works for both negative and positive. It does not sleep. It does not rest. It only waits to see what you are commanding it to do. So from this moment, I want you to look again. What commands are you using to program yourself? And if they are pulling you down, know this: you can reprogram. You can plant a new, stronger, brighter, more worthy script. But first, you must believe that it is in your hands. This is the truth. Whoever controls suggestion controls reality. And this journey starts here with one question: will you let your subconscious obey old fears or a new dream? You may ask, how can a single phrase, a repeated thought, change your whole destiny? The answer lies in the unchanging truth. The subconscious does not joke. It does not argue. It does not analyze. It only accepts and acts. Every time you plant a command like, I am not good enough, I am not ready, I will fail, the subconscious starts looking for evidence to confirm that belief. You begin to unconsciously avoid opportunities, reject doors that could open the future because your mind has been conditioned to believe success is not for you. But when you reverse this law, you will see its true power explode. Autosuggestion is not just a few hollow slogans. It must be a deep-rooted belief nourished by strong emotion, repeated with unwavering faith. When Hill wrote about the great industrialists and leaders, he pointed out one common point. They suggested to themselves a belief in long-term success so deeply that every cell of their being operated as if it were obvious. They did not wait for proof to believe. They believed first, and that belief forced reality to bend accordingly. And you can do that too. But you must learn to observe the hidden commands you plant every day. You must have the courage to see most of what you believe about yourself was not your choice. It was planted by the judgments of parents, teachers, society. You allowed them to live in your head for too long without ever cleaning them out. But now you can choose again. You are no longer the child who only receives orders. You are the one holding the pen, writing the new chapter. And the first thing you must understand is autosuggestion only has value when you turn it into an action habit. Belief without action is only dreaming. You want financial change, plant the command, I deserve wealth, but your actions must align with that command. You want health, plant the command, I respect this body, and every meal, sleep, workout becomes living proof. The subconscious, however strong, is meaningless if you do not turn it into daily rhythm. You cannot sit still and expect the law of autosuggestion to work miracles. You are the sower. Your actions are the water, and do not forget, if you do not water good seeds, the weeds of doubt will grow and take over. Now you understand autosuggestion. is not just what you say, but how you plant it deep into the subconscious. But how does a phrase cross the barrier of doubt so it does not just sit on the surface and disappear? Napoleon Hill made it clear the power of autosuggestion lies in emotion and visualization. A lifeless affirmation will do nothing for the subconscious. It must be accompanied by intense emotion, vivid imagery, and repeated consistently like, when you say, I am worthy, feel the pride run down your spine. When you whisper, I will succeed, close your eyes and clearly picture every scene you stepping on stage, signing the big check, touching the goal. Do not speak empty words. Let every cell believe it has begun. This is not self-deception. This is how you reprogram the neural pathways you unconsciously carved with fear and doubt. You are building a new path, and only repetition plus strong emotion keeps that path alive. Hill emphasized every day, you must dedicate time to this autosuggestion, ritual like a sacred ceremony. Write the affirmation on paper. Read it aloud clearly with all your sincerity. Practice when your mind is most receptive, when you just wake up or before you sleep. These are the two golden doors, when the subconscious is most open. And then the most important thing, let those commands influence your actions. If you only whisper beautiful words, but your daily behavior stays lost, every promise is meaningless. Let autosuggestion become the compass that shapes every decision, the relationships you keep, the habits you break, the work you pursue. This is how you turn an affirmation into an irreversible reality. And when you persist long enough, you will witness the change not as an instant miracle, but like a quiet river steadily eroding the old rock, revealing the fertile soil beneath. Your subconscious then will no longer be it will become your most loyal assistant, opening paths you once thought impossible. Pause for a moment and look straight at the truth. The power of autosuggestion does not lie in waking up one morning mumbling a few positive lines and hoping for magic. This law is powerful because it seeps deep like underground water, silent, but relentless, breaking even the most solid mental blocks. The blocks of doubt, fear, inferiority, frozen since childhood from failures, from skeptical looks of others. Napoleon Hill emphasized every thought, if strong enough, repeated long enough, will imprint on the subconscious and become the truth you live. Do you understand the weight of this sentence? It means every word you say to yourself, even silently, is building up or tearing down the entire kingdom within you. Everything starts there. You cannot plant an apple seed and expect an orange, just as you cannot repeat, I am worthless, I cannot, and expect success, peace, confidence to come knock. Do not fool yourself. All these years, what have you suggested to yourself the most? A belief of unworthiness. A script, I will fail again. A voice that keeps whispering, I am not good enough. That is negative autosuggestion, the thing you have unconsciously practiced into a habit. Your subconscious, like a loyal but blind servant, does not know right or wrong, it only obeys. It listens to you 24 hours a day, records, organizes, and turns that thought into reflex habit reality. Remember, no one else is responsible for erasing these bad commands but you. No one can save you from the negative voice you keep repeating endlessly. So from today, ask the most important question. What am I repeating to myself every day? You say I will change, but you wake up complaining, worrying. You say I will be rich, but all day you talk about debt and lack. You say I am strong, but you give in to every distraction. That is not real autosuggestion. That is an illusion broken by lack of mental discipline. This law does not reward those who only talk. It obeys those who persistently plant seeds. And like a garden, you cannot expect sweet fruit. If you water only a few drops, then abandon it. Autosuggestion demands you repeat, 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 long enough for the old pathways to crack and new ones to take shape. You must plant affirmations that are vivid, full of imagery, strong in emotion, because emotion is the fertilizer that makes seeds grow fast. Start with a simple ritual every morning before the world out there floods you with thousands of news rumors. Judgment, stand before the mirror, look deep into your own eyes and say, clearly, strongly, I am reprogramming this mind to become the best version. Repeat what you desire, not just with your mouth, but with your heart. And close the day the same way before sleep. So your subconscious works while you dream plant another seed of new belief. Do not expect anyone to understand you. They will laugh out. But Hill already wrote a properly trained mind, needs no proof for anyone. You do this not to show off, not to seek agreement, but to free yourself from the chain of negative suggestions that have imprisoned you too long. Every day of persistence. Every time you choose to plant a new belief, you are inching closer to the day your reality will no longer reflect the old voice, but a strong, self-directed voice, unshakable. And that is when autosuggestion becomes the backbone of your life. Now, you understand autosuggestion is not a trick for daydreamers. It is a refined tool to turn desire into commands for the subconscious. But remember, the subconscious does not respond to weak commands. It only listens to what is repeated, filled with the strongest emotion. Napoleon Hill called this faith a living belief that cannot be shaken. If you lack faith, autosuggestion is just empty words, wind passing through your mind, leaving no trace. Look at this. Why do so many read hundreds of books, listen to thousands of hours of motivational speeches, yet life does not change? It's because they swallow knowledge like parrots, but forget those words need to be tied to real emotional vibration. Only when your heart trembles with desire does the suggestion sink deep into the subconscious root. Take a simple example. Someone keeps repeating, "I will succeed," but inside there is still a faint voice whispering, "That will never happen, you are just fooling yourself." So what happens? That voice of doubt is the real autosuggestion, while the affirmation is just a thin mask. The subconscious always follows what you believe most deeply, not what you recite. To unleash the power of autosuggestion, you must dig up the root of those negative beliefs, face them, and replace them with stronger, more vivid images. Repeat long enough for it to become your new operating system. This is why Hill taught combine autosuggestion with images, sounds, and emotions. You do not just mumble, "I will be rich." You must imagine clearly how you look when you are wealthy, what you wear, how you walk, how you speak, how you feel when you see your bank balance. Then every cell in you vibrates in harmony with that image. This is emotionalized autosuggestion, which helped thousands overcome fear, escape poverty, and open a new reality. Hill said imagination is the workshop of the mind. Imagination is the mind's forge. You cannot forge iron without fire, and fire is emotion. The problem is most of us let fear use this tool backward. We imagine failure more vividly than success, worry more vividly than goals. Do not believe it. Think about the time you lost sleep because you imagined a terrible scenario that never happened. You hypnotized yourself, injecting fear into your nervous system. That is the power of negative autosuggestion. Now ask yourself, if fear can make your heart race and your body sweat just from imagination, why can't you use the same mechanism to plant belief, hope, and self-mastery? The problem is not strength, but the direction you guide it. From today, you must become the most disciplined blacksmith. Do not just repeat affirmations like reading a prescription. Build a vivid movie in your head. Let emotion direct it. Every night, every morning. Never skip a day, because each day you plant a new image, you blur the old one. One day, your subconscious will react in a new way, confident, unshakable, unbreakable. That is how you reprogram reality, no longer a victim of memories or negative suggestions. Do not underestimate the power of repeated moments. Each time you clearly imagine the goal, each time you speak an affirmation with full emotion, it is not just pep talk, it is a persistent knock on the door of your subconscious. And you must understand that door only opens for the truly consistent. Napoleon Hill always stressed autosuggestion works only when it becomes an unshakable habit. Consistency is more important than any burst of excitement. One night of excitement whispering, "I can do it," then ignoring it for a month only plants false hope. A person who affirms daily, imagines daily, acts daily, truly turns thought into reality. But autosuggestion is not just affirmations. It is everything you expose yourself to daily. You unconsciously hypnotize yourself through the stories you tell, the people you listen to, the words you speak. You complain, "I am so tired, I am so bad, I cannot do it." It sounds harmless, but to the subconscious it is a command. It records you as tired, bad, powerless, and starts finding proof to strengthen that label. How many times have you seen someone self-deprecate? And it becomes true. Your words are the bricks building your self-image. Do not throw bricks carelessly, then wonder why your castle never stands. This is the moment you need awareness. Every word you say, every image you repeat in your mind is either building or destroying you. Napoleon Hill said, everything you plant in your mind will bloom in real life. So when you say, I am a failure, you are watering the seed of failure. But when you say, I am still growing, I will succeed, you are watering the seed of success. You do not need to force belief immediately. What you need is to plant consistently repeated until your subconscious has no way out, but to accept and obey. But autosuggestion does not stand alone. It must go hand in hand with action. A person who lies in bed whispering, I am rich, but never lifts a finger is daydreaming in daylight. The subconscious is a powerful helper, but it cannot replace your legs. When you plant belief in your mind, you must create parallel action steps, no matter how small. A call you fear to make, an email you delay writing, a habit you know you must start but keep making excuses to postpone. Treat each action as a nail pinning autosuggestion to reality. Without action, every affirmation is just a soap bubble. Do not let autosuggestion die from lack of discipline. Protect it through the environment you choose, the people you keep, the books you read. A toxic environment is barren soil, where autosuggestion seeds wither before they root. So treasure it like an invaluable asset. Keep a quiet space, nurture strong thoughts, and ensure each day has at least 1 minute where you truly dialogue with your subconscious. No neglect, no half-heartedness. This is not a mind game. This is a practice of willpower and belief. And you will be surprised when you see one person who knows how to guide autosuggestion goes further than 100 talented people who let their subconscious run wild. When you understand that autosuggestion is the silent code you install for your life, you realize a shocking truth. Most people's thoughts are automatic, repetitive, and often negative. This means if you do not consciously control it, you are being manipulated by your own subconscious, and it will not hesitate to betray your dreams. How many times have you heard that voice dripping into your mind, saying you are not good enough? Do not step forward. It is dangerous. Wait until tomorrow. That is unconscious autosuggestion, the commands you did not know you, planted from old experiences, criticism, fear of rejection. So the big question is, how do you shift from negative autosuggestion to intentional autosuggestion? Napoleon Hill left a simple rule, ignored by generations. Say what you want to hear loud, clear, and often until the subconscious has no choice but to believe it is true. But do not confuse hollow repetition with emotional repetition. An affirmation without emotion is a weak knock on a door in a storm. But when you repeat a phrase with clear images, vivid feelings, steady breath, you knock hard on the deepest door of your subconscious. One day that same subconscious will push you to act on it, as naturally as breathing. This is when you must establish autosuggestion rituals. Successful people do not just dream, they turn dreams into daily rituals. A notebook beside the bed, a goal note on the mirror, a mantra on the desk, a minute of deep breath and eyes closed before stepping outside. These seemingly silly things are the bridge for conscious words to sink into the deepest soil of the subconscious. And remember, the strongest autosuggestions are not vague phrases, like I am rich, I am confident. They must be specific, vivid, like a picture. I am selling 100 orders each month. I stand in front of 500 people speaking calmly. I see my bank balance reaching 1 billion. The more detailed the image, the sharper the autosuggestion. But do not naively think it will be easy. When you start reprogramming the brain, the old parts will resist. They hate change. They will pull you back to your comfort zone. That is nonsense, you failed. Before, why write it down, waste of time? Those voices creep in when you are tired, alone, or lacking faith. That is when you must know autosuggestion is not an overnight miracle. It is a battle with the old self. 1 repetition, 2 repetitions. It does not listen. But 3,300, 3,000, the brain cannot resist. Then all your effort suddenly turns into visible results. One question you must carve into your mind: what are you saying to yourself right now? Each answer shows what you are feeding. You cannot plant negative seeds and expect sweet fruit. Start today. Write your strongest autosuggestion. Attach it to one small daily action. And do not stop for a single day. Seeds grow through consistency, not sudden excitement. Now, when you know autosuggestion is not just pretty words, but invisible commands shaping your every action, pause and ask, have you really taken responsibility for those commands? Most people fail not because they lack ability, but because they let the past environment and others plant negative autosuggestions in their subconscious. You see, every time someone called you useless, lazy, not smart, if you had no wall of protection, that word rooted in your mind lived there for years, and every time you tried to break through it, whispered, stop dreaming, you cannot do it. Napoleon Hill emphasized this over 80 years ago. Anyone can master autosuggestion, but only when you are aware of what is flowing through your thoughts. You cannot change what you are unaware of. So the next step is you must become the gatekeeper of your mind. When a negative word appears, do not swallow it. Challenge it immediately. Ask who says this is there. Proof, does this serve my goal? Each time you question, you train resistance to negative autosuggestion. Gradually, your subconscious understands the new master is awake. But do not stop at guarding, start planting. You must plant positive autosuggestions, stronger, clearer, more consistent than the toxic seeds from outside. That is why you need a daily script. A few minutes in the morning when the mind is calmest, and a few before sleep when the subconscious door is wide open. These are the golden hours Hill called the highest suggestion moments. If you use them well, every word sinks deep as an irreversible command. Do not speak emptily. Feel it. See it. Hear the sound of success, smell victory, touch the results you want as if they are here. When senses combine, autosuggestion becomes real experience. And the brain, no matter how smart, cannot tell what is real, what is imagined. It only obeys. Yet remember one more thing, autosuggestion will soon become useless if your actions do not match. You can shout, I am healthy, but eat junk food every night. You can scream, I am rich, but stay lazy and delay. Subconscious is not stupid. It watches your actions more than your words. So make sure every step, even the smallest, sends the same signal that autosuggestion is planting. Prove it by action. Let daily habits be undeniable proof. When inner belief aligns with outer reality, you hold the key to turn the impossible into reality. This part, remember one rule, autosuggestion never works fully if you do not turn it into a ritual, a habit, a way of living. So, what do you choose? Let yourself drift with old thoughts, or start reprogramming your reality today. Now imagine you have started planting positive autosuggestions. In the morning, you tell yourself, I am capable, I am disciplined, I am worthy of what I desire. At night, you picture the beautiful future waiting. But is that enough? No. Because most people fail not from lack of affirmations, but because they plant the seed but do not know how to care for it. You cannot plant once, then wait for a bountiful harvest. A seed of will is like a seed in soil. It needs fertile ground, the light of action, the water of discipline. Without any part, it rots and dies quietly. Hill said forgotten autosuggestions are the gap between winners and quitters. Because you mix fragile belief with old habits. You say, I am confident, but fear big decisions. You say, I am disciplined, but stare at your phone for hours. This conflict confuses the subconscious master. What do you really want? And when the message is unclear, belief does not root. So the most important part of autosuggestion is not the words, but the consistency between what you say and how you live. Remember, every behavior is a living autosuggestion. When you procrastinate, you suggest to the subconscious that action is unnecessary. When you make excuses, you affirm, I am not good enough to finish. So how do you break this loop? That is the art. Attach autosuggestion to small, steady daily action. You do not wish to change the world instantly. Prove to yourself with specific, doable, non-negotiable steps. Write the big goal, break it into steps. Do each step. Each time you finish one thing, even the smallest, remind yourself, this is proof I am reprogramming reality. There is a secret, extraordinary people. Apply, they do not just affirm when it is easy. They do it especially strongly when they feel weakest. When doubt comes, when fear pushes them back to safety, they do not run, they face it with autosuggestions they plan. They ask, what would my stronger self do now? Then they do it. Action against fear is the strongest signal for the subconscious I am truly reprogramming. So let me emphasize autosuggestion is not just repetition. It is a living commitment. It is a mantra you whisper while pouring into every step. When discouragement comes, you do not suppress it. You use autosuggestion as a torch through the dark. When you feel alone, remind yourself this part of me is being upgraded. You are not lying to yourself. You are teaching your brain a new truth. You have the power to choose belief and turn it real. This is a reminder, do not quit because you do not see results in days. Do not stop planting because the soil is still dry. Every great change sprouts silently before it shows. You cannot see it, but it lives, it grows. The question is, will you keep watering, weeding, and protecting that seed each day? Now we reach the final step. The step where most people stop, because they think repeating enough will magically change everything. But Hill left a secret few have patience to master. Autosuggestion only works fully when it becomes the bloodstream feeding every choice you make daily. It is not a few morning or night words. It is an inner law, silently steering reactions, habits, actions when no one watches. Ask yourself when you stumble, what do you say to yourself? Most whisper, I am bad. I am not good enough, this is not for me. You do not see it, but each self-talk is negative autosuggestion powerful enough to reprogram your brain to sabotage. Each abandoned goal tells the subconscious we are quitters. The loop forms, failure feeds the belief. You cannot set negative belief leads to half-hearted actions and results get worse. There is only one way to break this. You must become the true architect of your inner words. No one can do this for you. No one hears your mind more than you. If you keep feeding weak, vague commands, you get a shallow life full of regret. But if you stay disciplined with every word your mind chews on, everything will turn. Autosuggestion is a tool, but you hold the lever. Forge it like a warrior and never say to yourself what you do not want to become true. Every whisper, every image you repeat must match the person you want to be, not the one you fear to be. And one more thing, do not let autosuggestion numb you. It is not to lull you in positive dreams. It is a command for action. Each time you affirm, I am disciplined, act to prove that belief alive. Each time you whisper, I am capable, step forward, even if unsure or afraid. Action, however small, is what carves autosuggestion into your nervous system. Hill said no belief is stronger than one forged through real collision with life. Let autosuggestion be the current running through you, lighting every choice, shaping every reaction, shielding you from the spiral of self-destruction. When failure knocks, do not step back, whisper, I am learning to succeed. When procrastination lurks, say, I act now. When fear speaks, answer, I choose to move forward, even if my hands shake. You do not need to shout for people to see you have changed. You only need to whisper the right thing at the right time. Repeat it, then prove it through action. One day you will look back and see the beliefs you once planted quietly became a vibrant reality, not by luck, but because you had the discipline to forge your inner talk into the sword that clears your path. This is the power of the law of autosuggestion, an invisible yet relentless power. A law no one imposes, you choose to obey. When you master it, you do not just change a few results, you build a new life from the root. This is not the end. This is the beginning of a new version of you, a person who knows every whisper becomes a command. Guard the gate of your mind because you deserve to own your reality.